Alright, what is up people? It is me, Monster58, and welcome back to another video review. Today we are going to be doing a video review on the newly essentially reissued Monsterarts Godzilla 1954, the original Goji. This is the beginning of it all, the king of the monsters himself. This is where he all began, and we got essentially a reissue of the figure that we had a while ago for those of you, like including myself, who weren't able to get it. But taking a look here, as you can see, the very nice 2023 Godzilla right down there. More Godzilla stuff here. Godzilla 1954, obviously SH Monster Arts. Some very nice artwork of the King of the Monsters himself. Bandai, Tamashii Nations. Very cool box stuff as they usually do with all these claw marks. SH Monster Arts Godzilla 1954, as per usual. Again, very nice here. Taking a look at the other side, some more nice artwork of Goji himself, and then we have the title of the character here, Godzilla 1954. More claw marks here on top of the box, SH Monster Arts Godzilla 1954, and then on the back we have our obligatory product shots of the Goji himself, of the big lizard, of the massive monster. And yeah, I think that's really about it for the box. I'm going to say right away, this isn't going to be a too long a review because I'll say there's really not too much to this guy, but let's get this guy out of the box and see how he is. Alrighty, folks, here we have the SH Monster Arts Godzilla 1954 opened up and out of the box, and he looks really good. I mean, this is the original look for Godzilla. This all black look. He's got, the crazy, massive, like, googly looking eyes here, as you can see. The spines. Everything here is as pretty much exactly as Godzilla, how Godzilla looked in the original movie. And just for a little comparison, so I'll just put him here, and then you can see a picture of the actual Godzilla from the movie right next to him. They match up pretty damn well, and I don't think there's really too much of a major difference, if anything, with these two. But taking a look and zooming in on the details, you can see some really nice molded in detail. They always do a bang up job. Bandai and Tamashii always do a bang up job with all of the molded in details here, especially across the arms here, and the chest, and the face. And you can see eyes are nice. This is how he looked. And at the end of the day, if you want to fault the figure for looking goofy, kind of fault the design, because this is what they were doing in 1954. Godzilla is going to be 70, is essentially 70 years old, almost to the day. So yeah, really, really cool stuff. And then more molded details here. You can see nice stuff for the claws there, nice molded in there as well. Very nice throughout here, and then obviously the tail, very nice. You can see all of the molded in detail here throughout the spines. Those look very nice. You can see them right there. Some more extra details there, going down, going down, and obviously you can see the very nice tail and everything like that. Overall, I'll take a look at the feet actually as well. I forgot about those, but yeah, very nice details on the feet as well. The claws look very good. Overall, I mean, this guy looks good. He is a perfect representation of basically what we saw in that original 1954 film. There's nothing more to it than this simplistic design. Again, we didn't get much of the other, interesting designs of God. Well, he stayed relatively similar throughout the years. But at the same time, we haven't gotten the other designs. He hasn't turned green yet or anything like that. This is the original Goji. So yeah, when it comes to all the details, everything here, I think it looks really good. And even if you zoom in here on the face, you can see the nice teeth there. They're very nice, I think. I think they're very well done. Very monotone, as you can tell. But remember, guys, in 1954, it was black and white. It was a black and white movie. So even if he did have color, it wasn't going to come across on screen because we didn't have the technology to actually do that. So at the end of the day, even if you might say that this is monotone, this is accurate to how he was in the original movie. So nothing much more to say other than the sculpt and the details, and the paint is really, really good. There's just not too much interesting paint or, insane molded in detail in terms of like absolutely breathtaking, because simplistic design. It was the 50s. What else are they going to do? The first design for Godzilla. So yeah, that's about it with looking at that part of him. So the next part we'd obviously get into is accessories. He doesn't come with any. And how do I feel about that? I'm indifferent about it because obviously, as someone who paid, I think it was about $95 for this guy, You'd think that he'd come with at least something, interchangeable hands, something like that, maybe slightly interchangeable face, even though his face didn't really change throughout the movie from my memory. It's been a very long time. I don't even remember if I've actually watched the 54 movie in full, but all I know is the design is very accurate, and I just don't remember if he really did anything to warrant having accessories, but if that's not the case, then, I mean, what are we going to do? So, there's the argument of you're paying, $90 for a figure. Should you get accessories with it, especially for something like this? And I argue, yes, of course you do. But at the same time, I don't see what else that they could have added besides the hand. So I'm on the fence about it. Would I liked accessories? Yes, of course I would have. Does this guy have any accessories to warrant? Not really. And so for me, it's whatever, I guess. It's up to you to decide whether you think he's worth the, what was it, like 90, 95, maybe a little more dollars than that for this guy. But again, the sculpt and the paintwork and everything else is there. SH Monster Arts always kills it with that. It's just the justification of whether you would be okay with essentially having a figure with no accessories. You're paying $90 for it. Again, sculpt, everything is good, so I have nothing to complain about that. Again, the accessories thing, that's up to you. I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments below. So, getting into size comparison, let's put Goji off to the side here, the original Goji. As sort of a random little comparison, here he is with the Transformers Studio Series 86 Ratchet. This guy will be the next review, by the way. This will be the one I'll put out, so you guys can look forward to that. Definitely would appreciate if you guys check that out. But yeah, the original SS86 Ratchet, just for a decent size comparison, yeah, this guy's about the size of a Voyager Transformers figure. Nothing really crazy there. And because I got these two within a week of each other, here he is with the Godzilla 1991 Shinjuku Decisive Battle version. This is the movie with Godzilla versus Mecha King Ghidorah, which is why it's the Shinjuku Decisive Battle version. I'll be sure to try my best to bring out my own Mecha King Ghidorah that I got. I'll bring that out to compare with this guy when the review comes along. But as you can see, over the years, the designs haven't changed an insane amount. Obviously, this guy's a bit bigger. I don't know. I think he's canonically bigger as well. I believe even the original Godzilla was a bit on the smaller side in comparison to the ones we see today. But you can see some of the differences here. This is sort of, you can't really tell in hand, but this is a slightly darker gray. If I don't know if that comes across on camera. This is a slightly darker, more monotone gray. And again, you can see the differences here. You can see the claws on this guy's feet are like this brown, like, moldy brown green color. This guy's all gray and black. But again, that's just, having to do with the times. They had color at this point. So some of the color that they would have would show across. Also, this guy breathed fire. And we'll talk about this when we get into this guy's review eventually. But yeah, I do think these two look good together. I will have them on display with each other. But yeah, you can see the differences in evolution with the designs for these guys. So yeah, that's about it for comparisons, really. All right, getting into it, let's get into his articulation. Now, his articulation's pretty fine. I mean, he's pretty much as standard Godzilla as you can get. The only difference is the tail isn't as bendable as I would like it to be, because there's a lot of Godzillas where you can actually bend the tail like all the way around like this. Like the Final Wars one comes to mind. That one is really good with the tail. Unfortunately, the MonsterVerse one really isn't all that great. It's actually pretty flimsy in comparison to the other tails and the least articulated. But I also believe that Godzilla's tail wasn't necessarily as big. I don't know. It just wasn't great. But starting from the top, his head is on a ball joint, so you can get some nice range of motion. So you can look down about that far. You can also look up a decent bit. The jaw also opens. You can't really get a full 360 like from the base of like this segment of the neck, but you can get a full 360 like that, and then you do get these individual segments here that are all articulated as well, so you can get a little more play, but nothing too crazy. I wouldn't try and force any of this so that you don't risk popping off anything. Arms, can't really do full 360. I'm so used to saying you can do a full 360 because I've been doing so many Transformers, but you can't really do a full 360, but you do get some back and forth movement. You do get some elbow articulation. You do get a little bit more here. I think there's two joints, one here and one here, so you get a bit more there. And then the hands are also on ball joints, so you do get some nice wrist motion, the full 360, a little bit of up and down there. You do also have a bit of side to side here in the waist. You do also have the ball joint here, so you can twist him a little bit. Nothing too crazy. And then finally for the legs here on the bottom, you can kick forward about that far, back pretty far actually. You do have a knee bend, and then you also have a tiny bit, actually a good bit of ankle rocker here. So nothing too bad. And then finally the tail. Again, all these individual segments are articulated, but this one's a bit more stiff in comparison. So you can get stuff like this, but it's not going to be like Final Wars where you can just wrap it around his foot essentially like this. But you still can get that. But beyond this, you can already see it's trying to push back against me, giving it pressure. So I'm not going to force anything. But yeah, some decent articulation. Again, it's nothing absolutely crazy with this guy, but like there's not really much, you know, else that you'll really have this guy in display with besides him maybe roaring or something, like this. So overall, I do think that he is really nice here. And the articulation is very good for a Godzilla. It's pretty box standard, and there's nothing too crazy about that. So guys, for my final and concluding thoughts on the SH Monster Arts reissue of the 1954 Godzilla, as someone who never was able to get the original figure, it's fine. I mean, it's good, and it's just the representation of what we saw with Godzilla all those years ago in the 50s. This is what started it all, and again, you can argue against the monotone the colors of this figure specifically, but again, remember, it was black and white. Even if they had color, wouldn't have shown across on screen. And this is what we saw on screen, was just this dark black, little bits of gray here and there. You might criticize the goofy eyes, but at the same time, when it comes to the goofy eyes, again, that was just how it was designed. And at the end of the day, I can't really fault the people who made the figure for making the eyes look like that, because that's how the eyes were in the original movie. So what are you gonna do about that? Also, lack of accessories. That's obviously the big like discussion around Godzilla figures in particular, which we'll obviously get to when we even get to this guy right here. The Shinjuku Decisive Battle version. But for this guy, he didn't really even have any crazy notable moments in the movie, unlike some of the crazy notable moments that we've seen with other Godzillas and other movies. This guy didn't really do that much because he was the start. And then I'm not saying he didn't do much in the movie, but in comparison to how we've known Godzilla throughout the years, there really isn't much to add. So again, I'm on the fence still about whether they should have added any accessories or whether it was fine to not add any. Again, that's up to you guys as well. For me personally, if you are a Godzilla fan and you don't have this in your collection, I do recommend you pick this up, just due to the fact that I don't know when they'll reissue this again, and it's probably one of your last chances to get it before people start to scalp it again, as they did with the previous one. So overall, if I have to give this figure an out of 10, probably going to give this thing 7.5 or 8. Probably leaning more towards the 7.5 side of things, just because there's not much to this guy. He's just the Godzilla from 1954, and that's all you get. And the articulation is also fine, but that's about it. So, if you do want to pick this figure up, I picked mine up on the Big Bad Toy Store. I'll leave a link to that in the description. I'll see if I can find a link to Amazon as well, so you guys can also pick it up there. But yeah, that's about it. Yeah, pretty solid figure all around. Just again, nothing too much craziness, not too much craziness with him, just due to the fact of the simplicity of the movie and the simplicity of the design that they had to go with. So, thank you guys so much for taking the time to watch this video. Please like, comment, rate, and subscribe, and share this video with your friends. Also follow me in the socials, linked in the description below. And with that, guys, I thank you once again so much for taking the time to watch this video, and I'll catch you all in the next one. Hope you have a wonderful day. Peace.